I'm not one of these presenters, one of these people who kind of, I'm here on the stage, you're down there. I am down there with you, I just happen to need to be here for the camera, that's all. I will give you all of my time. I know what it's like to start a business in your front room, in your back room, in your bedroom, and build it up. I also know what it's like to have to go out and raise, you know, millions of pounds from VCs. And I know what it's like to just have to go to a bank and raise 50 grand to do kind of a pretty standard, normal kind of business. So I have a lot of experience I can bring to bear for all of you, no matter what your businesses are or what stage you're at. Louise, could you tell us what your current biggest challenge is within the charity?
My biggest challenge is to develop the dad's training and get that known out there all over the UK.
And what's your biggest financial challenge within the charity, would you say?
The biggest one at the moment is we need a building that is becoming self-sufficient so that we can run all of our services. We can do on-site activities for the outdoors. We can have a conference room.
How much is that going to cost you?
To buy is £1 million, and we need 20%.
So you're going to need to raise £200,000.
Yep.
In what period of time?
As quick as possible.
Okay, give me a deadline.
Yesterday.
Give me a deadline.
A month.
Okay, you've got 1 month. How far have you got so far?
I've sent it to a couple of business people who are looking at it, an independent financial advisor, and also somebody who is on the Olympic committee, because we are looking at doing Olympic sports as well.
Okay, so what is it exactly that you are looking for?
We want people to invest in something that we don't own yet.
Okay, so to be precise, are you looking for somebody to buy this building for you and lease it back to you? Are you looking for somebody to loan you the £200,000? Are you looking for somebody to give you the £200,000?
Either.
Any of them?
Any of them, yeah.
Okay. If anybody has, just because I know how tight we are for time, I'd like you to all just spend the next half an hour thinking, you never know where this random person is. You know somebody who knows somebody. You know a charity, you know a function, you know a fund that's available that operates within this sector that might please have a think about it. And if there is anybody, speak to John at the end of it. John, what could you do as a business, if everything was completely possible, what could you do as a business that could help start generating that cash?
The amount of different businesses that we'll run in the building, not just our own, but other ones that we'll rent out as well and lease out, will pay more than the mortgage and all of the utilities.
So what you're going to do is you're going to sublet it, yeah?
Yes.
Right, now I want to know what you can currently do. What is it within your own control and your own power that if you could get it absolutely 100% right, you could start generating some revenue that would go towards that?
The three businesses that we've got will generate money.
Which one generates the most amount of money at the moment?
The
most amount of profit. Profit, not just money.
Biggest profit would freaks and training.
Okay.
Yeah. The training because there's no cost to us because we've done all the materials, done the website, done all the marketing. So it's just to us standing up, delivering the training.
Okay.
Freaks, particularly for corporate team building, can generate the most money.
Now, off the top of my head, I can imagine that if you went and did a pitch to some corporates, and what you were pitching was actually that rather than them loaning you this money in order to do this, if you pitched a contract with them to provide this for a set amount of money, which would then be funded into here. Does that make sense? So you go out and you go to a BT. Who's your biggest corporate provider at the moment? Who's your biggest corporate client?
The biggest one that we are quoting for at the moment is an IT company.
Okay, so somebody like that could be able to give you a monthly retainer or a one-off project or a yearly project that would then underline this business. So rather than asking for cash effectively just to be granted to you or loaned to you or given to you, you're saying, give us a contract for X amount of money to provide this, and we will use some of that money to be able to help fund this. Does that make sense? It's just kind of how you position it slightly differently with people.
Yes, I agree.
Do you think you could do that?
I do, but I think the time scale that it will take...
You're so tight. What is, I mean, 1 month to raise that is quite ambitious. Are there any other funds that you could think about using? Like, are there any government funds, available funds?
There are, but we'd use those to rebuild it after we've flattened it.
What happens if you don't get this money in 1 month?
Somebody else will buy the building.
Do you know that for sure?
No. It's just what the agent's telling us.
It's a major risk, that's all.
Okay, so it's a risk. But if that building fell out, you could probably find another, but it might not be perfect, and it might take you 6 months to find one. Is that?
Yeah,
that's the concern, isn't it? And also, we were possibly looking at the resources we will have in that centre. Maybe if somebody was looking at getting a new premises shortly, or they wanted to save on the overheads, they had invested that in us, then we are willing to sort of possibly look at space or something that then we can then do back, or a percentage in it. Okay. We'd rather avoid that, obviously, but looking, sort of down those lines.
But one of the things I'm going to do is when I email out to everybody, I would be happy to say this from myself, that I'd be happy for a period of time to donate 10% of the income that I earn from my website to you guys, to the charity, to help you. And I think that if you reached out to as many people as possible, made people more aware of who you are, I mean, 10% of our profits, is a small enough percentage for people to feel comfortable doing it. But it all adds up. If you get 100 people doing that for you and supporting you, it starts spreading your word, but it also starts helping you generate revenue without you having to actively, because these guys are so under-resourced in terms of staffing, aren't you? I mean, you really have a hard time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask everybody in the audience if you could spend some time thinking about some ideas. And afterwards, when I finish, I'll sit down with you before you guys leave and give you some one-on-one time, because I've got some ideas, but probably ones that will take a lot longer than like 10 minutes, but very specific people that I think you should approach, and I'll happily help you do it.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, thank you guys, appreciate it.
Thank you.